You are now tuned in to Two Studs in a Pod with a dynamic duo of Blaze and Meech, a podcast giving you a candid glimpse into the world of super terrific Uber dykes, but you can call us studs. This week, we're discussing our experience as studs in the male dominated world of the barbershop. We're diving into what our first experience was like sitting in a chair, how we go about finding somewhere and someone that's LGBTQ plus friendly, and most importantly of all, what our girl's reaction is when we walk in the door with that dope boy fresh fade. Let's get into it. Meech, drop the beat. Welcome back to Two Studs in a Pod, good people. It's your boy Blaze and the homie Meech. Before we get into our usual weekly recap, we would like to take a minute to thank everyone that's been rocking with us. Your comments, your likes, your listens are seen, and we are feeling the love. Our goal is to be relatable and entertaining while also providing a place of community for everyone out there like us. So we hope you are feeling the love in return. This week, we're talking about being a stud in the barbershop and the experiences we have had. But before we get into it, let's do a quick check in. Meech, how's life been treating you since we last linked?
Man, life has been good. I cannot complain. Been getting a lot done, a lot accomplished, feeling good about life, reading some interesting books.
Oh, yeah, what books have you been reading?
I read The Artist's Way. I read the 33 Laws of War. That was a pretty good book. It's by the same guy who wrote the 48 Laws of Power.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was another book of his, and another book called The Seed of the Soul. I read that like maybe 2 years ago, but I had to revisit it. New year, trying to make sure I stay focused. Not just on physical health, but on mental health too. Trying to make sure I get my meditation in and all that good stuff. So, how's life been to you?
Life been good. I can't complain. I mean, work is super busy right now, but just been trying to make it through the day to get through that and enjoy life. Still our puppy graduates soon, so that's exciting. And as you know, we're getting ready to go on this vacation, so I've been trying to get back into a serious workout. I started working out a little bit here and there, but not as serious as I need to. So I'm definitely trying to get there. I started reading uh, a book called Dicks and Donuts, and not quite sure how I feel about that book yet, but I'm sure that'll be a topic of a discussion coming up soon because there's a lot of interesting tidbits in that book about studs that I don't know how true they are, but
Okay, I might have to get into that so we can have a good convo about it.
yes. But other than that, I actually did just get a haircut, which
Oh,
is
nice.
ironic. Yes, for the topic today. Um, but you know, it was it was an experience. It's not the kind of cut that I'm used to or that I've grown accustomed to from back home, but it was okay. What was it like walking into the barbershop for the first time for you, like as a stud? I guess that would
So
be the only way you walk in, right?
yeah, yeah. No, actually, I had been in barbershops before because I have younger nephews.
Mm.
Um, so obviously I was just looked at as like the chaperone. But walking into the barbershop as a stud for the first time was a little intimidating, I guess, because, you know, I don't know how they're going to receive me.
Mm.
So the first time I actually went into a barbershop as a stud was down in Miami. And I walked in there, and it's like I did some research, and I was just looking to make sure I got a fresh cut because the last thing you want is to have a fucked up haircut. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I googled some barbershops. I looked it up. I checked out the pictures and stuff online, and the name of the spot was Brooklyn Cuts, and I was like, I'm okay. I'm down. I'm down to go. So I walked into the shop, and like everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, I need a cut. and like they're like looking around, like waiting for some little kid or something to walk in behind me. I'm like, nah, like they're like, what do you want? I was like, a mohawk. So I'm like, okay. So they send me to the dude in the back. I'm like, oh God, like, can he cut or whatever? But like the barbershop seemed cool. Like I felt like I was back home in New York. Like everybody was talking shit. They were playing music. It was like I was around the homies from New York, and it just happened that like the owners of the shop were from New York. So I felt the vibe. The vibes was feeling good. Everybody was cool, but I was more worried about like the dude that was going to be cutting my hair. So he had a couple customers ahead of me, and then he had an appointment. So I ended up waiting for mad long. I'm getting like nervous, but it was kind of good because I saw him cutting,
Hmm.
so I could see his work.
Hmm.
And he actually had a stud come in, and I guess this was the popular time for the mohawks. So he cut her hair into a mohawk, and then that kind of made me feel a little bit more comfortable because I was like, oh, okay, like there's other studs in the barbershop or
And get
whatever.
the same cut.
Yeah, and get
Yeah,
the same cut. So I
yeah.
know Buddy is knowing what he's doing. So I get in the chair, and he just starts cutting my hair, and like he was talking to me just about whatever. We were chatting, whatever. Everything was good. So like the first experience was good for me. Um, it wasn't as scary as I thought. I think I kind of psyched myself out before like going in there. Like I was worried, but he was like pretty cool. Like he was explaining to me, how to do the different cuts and how I want my line and my sideburns and stuff like that. So that experience wasn't bad. It's just other experience I've had trying to find a barber. But I mean, I came out late in life, so it was like a big deal for me to chop my hair off and do that cut.
Yeah, because I remember
But
when I met you, you had your hair was long.
yeah, it's always been long, and then I was just tired of it. So and I needed to send out that bat signal, like, "Hey, I'm gay."
Yeah. Stud here,
Yes,
single, ready to mingle.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, as you know by now, I came out way early, like in high school, and I cut my hair in high school. So my hair's been short like this since then. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, like my first time walking into the barber shop. It wasn't really a barber shop, it was a flea. And I went
Mm,
with a couple of my gay homeboys from school, and because I needed to get a cut, and they knew this barber, and she happened to be a stud, or a butch. I'm not sure. I'm calling her a stud, but I don't really know what she would have called herself. Not like I really asked her that question, but
right.
um, she was there, and like she just seemed so cool to me because the whole thing about being a barber was something that attracted me. Working for yourself, and then being an adult stud or butch woman. She had girls coming by to see
Right.
her, you know what I'm saying? And like just dudes were coming to hang out in her little booth, like a little area that she had where her shop kind of was, however that's
Mm,
designated in the flea market. But it just seemed cool. And so I would go to her to get my hair cut. So it wasn't that intimidating. The first time I walked into a male barbershop, um, I was with this girl and she lived down the street from a barbershop. So when
mhm.
I went to her house, one time I needed to get a cut and I just decided to go to that shop. And the anxiety of walking in as a stud, not knowing how they were going to react, and also not knowing how good the cut was going to be
Right.
because like you said, you don't know um, what people's skills are, and
Yeah.
different people are really good. They can be really good at one style and one type of
Mhm.
hair, but it maybe not so much on another. So I never knew. But it was actually all right. Like when I walked inside, it was a smaller barbershop, and walked inside, all the barbers were busy, and they just told me that this guy that was in like the back, he would take me next, and so I didn't really get a good chance to watch him work because he was in the back
Mhm.
of the shop more so, but he appeared to know what he was doing, and from the people who were walking out, I didn't see anybody looking like with a puzzled face, like what
Right.
the hell just happened to my head.
What a
So
disappointed face.
right, yeah. So he called me in, and I like didn't even know how to describe what it was that I wanted
Yeah.
for a haircut. It turned out I wanted a temp fade, blowout,
Okay.
type deal. But I didn't know what that would be
Right.
be called. So I just like kind of showed him with my hands and like describe what I wanted, like just shave a little here and a little back, you know what I'm saying, and
Mhm.
then line me up, and that's what he did. I mean, there was a while there where I was getting a two all around, so but
Oh, wow.
that's, yeah, I was like really really short, but the blowout that he gave me, I felt all right with it. I mean, I've gotten better cuts since then, but I didn't know that at the time, so
Mhm.
it was all right. I can't really complain about the cut so much, especially all these years later.
Right. I know. The tough thing is like when you have to switch barbershops, and
Mm,
that that when I moved, I ended up going to a different barbershop than the first one I went to. And there was a young cat in there, and he had the same kind of hair like I have. So I figured, he could probably do the style. But when I had the mohawk, it was easy because it was like I just want a mohawk.
right.
But then wanted to start growing my hair out. So he worked with me because I had to go through those ugly stages and whatnot, to grow it back out into like a little curly fro. And in that barbershop, like I could feel the vibes. Like my barber was cool, but
Mhm,
the other guys, like
mm,
they didn't really acknowledge me. They didn't really talk to me when I walked in the shop. So that was kind of like, I would make appointments and wait outside until he came and
oh
then go
wow,
inside.
oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like, I think the owner of the shop was a Caribbean dude, and you know how they feel about the life. So, I think that may have had something to do with it. I don't know. So, but then I went into the shop another day and he wasn't there. And I was texting him, I was calling him, he wasn't responding. You know how the barbers can be.
Hmm.
So there was an older gentleman in there, and he seemed real cool. He was really nice to me. He was talking to me. We were having good conversation. And I asked for Buddy, and he was like, "Oh, I haven't seen him in a while. I think he got caught up something." So I'm like, "Damn." So I was like, "All right." I just, at this point, I had like a big fro, like a curly fro, and I just wanted a blowout, and I wanted him to trim it down a little bit. And I tell the guy, like, just cut it down like an inch. Oh my god. When I tell you this dude, he cut my hair down to an inch,
Oh my
bro.
god.
And it took me so long to like grow it back out, after going through those ugly stages with the
Oh my
mohawk, and I had a big ass fucking curly fro, and he cut it down to an inch. I was heated, like heated.
I don't think
I
there's
don't. I can't
anything.
even.
Oh, sorry. I was about to say I don't think there's like anything worse than that. Like when they misconstrue what it was that you asked for, and
Right.
what they're giving you. Oh yes.
Yeah. I mean, I looked like the old school lesbians, like the very older crew that used to have like the little short curly finger wave type curl.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it was a bad cut. I was getting complimented by all the older lesbians.
Oh my god. Like if you
Yeah.
saw this movie I just watched, The Watermelon Woman, which the movie's from
Uh-huh.
like 1996, like all the dykes and studs and femmes and everything in that had that kind of haircut.
Yeah.
That short, like
Yeah. I guess that's what he had envisioned because he was older. So I guess, that's what he knew as how the studs or the dykes or whatever, like their haircut. But I was so mad.
mm, no, no. The
Yeah.
um I've had issue where because like I'll get a fade, but I don't want, or even with my temp fade, I don't want it. I want it as low as it can go, but without skin where it needs to be
Hmm.
faded at. And sometimes they don't understand. They won't get that. That's why my old barber was so valuable because I didn't even have to mention anything. I think there was one time when I had a barber. And like you, actually maybe even twice, where like the barber seemed cool, but um actually no, the barber wasn't really that cool. He was just good at what he did. Like he could really, really cut.
Mm,
But it was uncomfortable going to him. Like I felt like he treated me funny because I was gay and I'm a stud, especially.
right.
So, um, I felt like maybe he didn't give me the same respect that he would to a dude. Even though I
Yeah.
was a customer, you know what I'm saying? Like, and a paying customer and a well tipping customer. That was that situation. I wasn't at that barber shop long, but there was another time where the barber was great in the shop. The people in the shop, I don't know, they were like iffy. Like I would walk in and they wouldn't really say anything. And I mean, I had been going there for a while. So, I mean, I don't think we should be best friends or anything, but if you see me every 2 weeks for a year, I
Right.
would think at least a hello, good morning, how you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, that's like the last barbershop that I had found in Miami. Like after all these years that I got comfortable and was getting cuts regularly, everybody would say what's up. Like even if I didn't know the barbers, you walk in the barbershop, you give everybody a pound, you give everybody that, because everybody there just would converse and we would talk shit, and it was more like a chill vibe. I never got any bad vibes from that shop, so but I had seen that happening in other shops, and like the one shop where the guys didn't speak to me, like they would dap up everybody else that came in the shop but me.
Mm,
I'm like, I don't need to be your friends. I'm just I'm trying to be respectful. I was brought up to be respectful and say what's up to people, but it's cool. I can wait for my barber.
right. Like you said, I'm not here to be friends. Um,
Right.
Usually what happens, maybe it probably doesn't happen so much to you, but it happens to me is that they often think that I'm a dude anyway.
Oh,
And then
okay.
maybe they realize that I'm not. Like maybe I'll wear a different shirt to go get my hair cut, like maybe a
Mhm.
t-shirt instead of like coming straight from work. And because when I'm at work, I'm wearing a button down, things like that. But if I went in the morning time, I'd just be wearing a t-shirt and maybe, my chest is more obvious. And
Mhm.
so that kind of would throw them off. But a lot of times they just think I'm a dude. Like even with this recent haircut, he kept calling me sir and buddy and
Mhm. Oh,
king and like everything
damn.
that you would use in reference to a guy.
Yeah.
And even cut my hair like that, like my line is definitely a male haircut. But I mean, it
Yeah.
happens. I mean, it probably doesn't really happen to you like that, right?
Nah, usually they get confused, they're not sure. Cause I think, one of my barbers was telling me that they're taught to cut women's hair a different way, like when it comes to shaping it.
Mm,
So, if I would want like a blowout, then, they would be like, do you want your sides to a point, or, and then when I tell them like I want it lined up or I want it lined up a certain way, they look at me like confused because I guess I don't look as masculine. And then, I mean, even when I had the short hair though, like they would still like just want to give me like the same haircuts that they would give like a feminine woman with short hair.
mm.
And I'm like, nah, like I want I want a dope boy fresh haircut. Like I'll show you the picture. That's exactly how I want it. I want the line and everything like that. And that's where I struggle in the barbershop. So, finding a new barber is hard. It's difficult. It's
Yes.
like finding a doctor or like it's important. You
Yeah.
gotta walk around like this.
Exactly. I mean, one of my biggest anxieties about moving was was having to leave my barber. Not get rid of him, but having to find a new one. And
Right.
like even this recent haircut, like I said, like it was okay, but I don't know. I guess, knowing that there's a different line per se for masculine versus feminine when they're doing the haircut, I
Yeah.
feel like maybe my old barber used to have a nice blend of the two when he
Right.
did my line, and it wasn't so stark in one direction. This
Mhm.
guy, I don't know, but I also looked at pictures that he of haircuts that he's done, and it seems like that's just his lineup, like how he does his lineup, no
Uh,
matter what haircut he's doing.
mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know. I need to have a barber here where I'm at. So I may go back to him because I have too much going on in the next couple weeks where I can't not get a haircut. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. You can't be looking crazy on that cruise,
right.
on
But
that
I'm like
vacation.
I know, and it was just weird. I felt like everybody in that shop felt like I was a dude. Like there was women in the shop doing women's hair, like putting in weaves and braiding and stuff like that. I think they just all felt like I was a dude, and they reacted like I was some new guy in the barber shop,
Oh, okay.
which was a little weird.
No, I'll tell you a funny story. So I came back to New York. Obviously, I had to find a new barber because I wasn't getting cuts when I was out here. But the shop I went to was a dude who had the shop since he was in high school, and he was a couple years ahead of me. So I'm like, I kind of know the dude. I feel comfortable going to his shop, so I went with my nephew, and they ignored me in the shop. Like they just thought I was chaperoning. But it's obvious if you look at me, like I have, the sides of my hair shaved, and even if it's grown in, like I still, need a cut. So I went to, they had like a little baby stud in there, and I sat in her chair. After, eventually I was like, yo, I need a cut. Like I'm not just sitting here. Both of us needed cuts. So they sent me to her, and my hair is kind of long. It's a ponytail, and she's looking at me, and she's like, what do you want? I was like, I want a blowout fade. And she's like a blowout, like a Dominican blowout? And I'm like, what? Like, no, I don't. Like, I would have went to the salon for that, like I want the same haircut you got. Like, what do you call that? And she's like, oh yeah, yeah, like a blowout fade. I'm like, yeah. So
Isn't
I
that
don't
what I just said?
understand. So I was nervous. I mean, she did an okay job. I could tell she had probably just started cutting hair or whatever. But I would think that stud recognize stud, or a masculine presenting woman would recognize that. But I couldn't go back after that because I just was like, I need to find like a master barber that really knows what he's doing.
Yes, that's how I feel still. I mean, this is only the second shop that I've gone to, and I don't know. Like the first one was horrible. This one was better than the first one, but the first one was horrible. It wasn't even the vibe in the shop, even though that was a little off. But I don't think it was off because they recognized that I was gay. I think it
Mhm.
was more so just it was off because it was off. You know, it just didn't
Oh,
feel um like a good vibe. But I needed to get a cut. Like I felt like I can't keep driving to Miami to go get a haircut.
right.
So I gave it a shot and I ended up with one of the worst haircuts of my life.
Oh no.
Yes, I was
No.
traumatized. That's probably why it's taking me so long to get a haircut now.
Yeah,
That
I got a pretty bad cut up there too because I was up there for a couple, like 2 months. And that's the reason why I ended up growing my hair back out when I got to New York. That was the last haircut I got before I left for New York. And I was embarrassed. I was walking around with hats on and scarves, and it was just a bad fucking cut. And I showed Buddy the picture, and I'm just like, how can you not, if you couldn't do it, just
just say that.
send me to
Right.
somebody else, or
Like
but why
don't fuck
fuck
me
me
up.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. Like I showed him the picture. What's even worse is that my girl was with me because she wanted to get a design cut in the back of her head.
Hmm.
And so she didn't catch my signals to her of saying, let's not do that. You know, like he already fucked me up.
Right.
There's no need for you to go down too, you know? But she was so excited about getting her haircut that she just didn't catch that. So she hopped in his chair and showed him the picture, and I had already convinced her into picking something that wasn't so intricate. She wanted like a
Mhm.
lotus blossom in the back of her head or
Oh no.
something. And I'm like, let's try some lines first and see how he handles that. So that's what she picked out of the line design and showed it to him. So I'm watching him cut this in the back of her hair. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't quite think that's what she was looking for.
Oh no.
But I'm not sure because I don't know if she done showed him a different picture or whatever.
Right.
So she gets done, and I see the look on her face when he shows her the back of her head in the mirror. And I'm like, that is not what she was looking for.
That is not her happy face.
For real. So I was just like, man, let's pay and get the hell out of here. And granted, the two haircuts for the two of us, and even the tip that I gave him, because I was like, this buddy, he never getting more money from me. You might not make a
Mhm.
lot of money as a barber, period.
Right.
If you cut like this, so I was like, man, here, blessings upon you. I'm out. But as soon as we walked out that door, I was like, is that what you asked for? And she was like, nope. And I'm like, yeah, me neither. So we're not coming back here. Trying to find a barber is weird. Like,
Yeah.
it feels weird anyway. But, and then when they walk in, they're like, come sit down, King. Here you go, sir. Okay, buddy.
King.
Yeah, boss. Oh, that's what he kept calling me,
Oh,
boss. Like, yeah,
boss.
boss. Because I'm trying to be friendly and
Right.
strike up a conversation because like, you could potentially be my new barber,
Mhm.
and I'm used to having a discussion about something when
Yeah.
I'm at the barber. And
I haven't had money discussions because um, I've been going to like new shops, and some of my barbers don't speak English, so it's just like show them the picture, and I would think a lot of the his, Hispanic cat like boys out here have the same cut, so I'm just like I want what you got.
right,
It's not that difficult, just cut it that way. But
that's the other thing. Like, I figure because my hair is more Spanishy, I try to go to a Spanish barber shop, but those were horrible. Like, I got there at 5:30 and they were like, "Yeah, we're booked up."
oh wow,
Like, it's 5:30.
yeah.
And then I went to another barber shop. By the time I got to that one, it was probably 6.
Mhm.
And he had a kid in the chair who was about done. And then another, like a couple was sitting there, like a girlfriend with her boyfriend or something. He was waiting to get a cut. So I'm like, oh, good. I'll get to see his work
Mhm.
and, then get my cut. So then um, I'm waiting. And he looks up and he's like, oh, yeah. He was like, after him, I'm closed.
Oh
Yo,
wow.
I was so hot by that time. I was like, yo, I cannot get a fucking haircut in this place.
Yeah.
So, wifey to the rescue. She found a black barber shop, and that's where I got this current haircut. So, yeah.
It's always a process, man. It's tough. I don't think that the femmes or I don't know, like other people understand how much of a process it is for us, and we got to go through all these
Right.
things to get. It's bad enough, or not bad enough, but I mean, it's bad enough people judge us because we're studs, but then we have to make sure our haircuts look right, and then we got to worry about is the barber good? Not only are they going to judge us in the shop, but does he know what he's doing
Right.
or she?
Right. So
So
we're already being judged by our looks. Now we're
right,
being even further judged by our looks, especially if we don't have a cut.
right, yeah, like you looking real shabby. I know my girl be trying it, like because I haven't gotten a haircut in like a month, and she's like, you're gonna go take the boys to get a haircut. I'm like, no, is that your hint?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my girl doesn't really press me about getting a haircut so much. She just wants to make sure that I'm not gonna cut my hair off or cut it all the way down to a two again.
Oh yeah.
Or in her words, God forbid, let it grow out into that ponytail mess that I had that one year. So as long as I don't do that, then she's good. But I'll tell you what, when I come home with a fresh cut, even this crazy cut, she's all over me again.
They
Because,
be fronting like it's no big deal, but when you come in with that fresh cut,
yep,
boy,
it's like an aphrodisiac.
gotta get that cut.
Yeah. So, if you happen to be in Central Florida, or what's your area, meet?
Oh, tri-state area,
Yes.
New York.
And you're a barber and you're looking for clients, please feel free to reach out via email or hit us in the DM because we need barbers. And
We sure do.
I would prefer a stud barber. I'm here to help my people. So,
Yeah, we definitely here to support. Or
yep,
even if you're LGBTQ plus friendly,
right, right.
we'll be down.
Yes. I mean, not to say that my barbers haven't been LGBTQ plus friendly, but
Right.
you know, there's nothing like knowing that for sure or them being family themselves. So that would be amazing if somebody reached out.
Yes, please reach out. I will drive. I don't care. I will take the train and two subways if I have to get to you.
If you're that good, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. For me to say I would drive, I mean, I have to drive, but let's see how far we're talking about.
There's so many barbershops around here, so I'm hoping that somebody reaches out.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yes.
And on that note, we're going to end it here. If you need a little more stud in your life, you can find us on IG and Twitter at Two Studs in a Pod. That's where you'll find some of our stud-centric content. We welcome any and all feedback, or if you have any questions or comments, feel free to slide in DMs or shoot us an email at twostudsinapod@gmail.com. That's TWO studsinapod@gmail.com. We may select your question or comment to share on an upcoming episode. Two Studs in a Pod is available on podcast platforms everywhere, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Gratitude is always the attitude, so we want to say thank you for lending us your ear.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye.